Hello class ninth. Welcome to a revision video today, and the lesson is types of economies, lesson number 3. You will find this lesson on page number 45. Please open your books along with me so that when I explain or when I give you a summary of this lesson, it will be easy for you to understand the lesson. This is going to be just a summary of the lesson. So if you want to know more details, you can get in touch with me, or you can even view the previous explanation slide videos that were given to you earlier. Alright students, so let's get started. Now, our lesson today is all about the kinds of economies that we have in our country. So please turn your books with me to page number 46, and here you will find the types of economies. I hope you can all see this diagram, and this flow chart shows that there are the types of economies are on two bases. First is the basis of stage of development, and the second is on the nature of economic system. So according to nature of economic system, there are three, that is capitalist, socialist and mixed economy. And on the basis of the development stage, developing countries and developed countries or economies. So we will study about all of these. I will just give you a brief idea about all of them. Okay. Now, first of all, we will see capitalist economy. Now, capitalist economy, I will just give you a very rough idea about this. And further, I would like you all, after viewing the video, I would suggest please go ahead and read its characteristics, merits and demerits. But I will give you an overall idea about capitalist economy. Alright students. So a capitalist economy, you must know, is a privately owned economy. Okay. So basically it is in the hands of private owners. It has private property. So basically after one person dies, the property goes into the hands of its heir. Okay, and next important thing is that their motive is only to earn profits. Okay, they want to only earn profits, and for that they don't really bother about the welfare or the benefit of the society. Also, they are a lot into competition. That means they compete with other I would say industries, or we can say other firms. They try to compete with them. Okay, so in simple words, we can say that capitalism is a system in which means of production, that means land, labor and all of that, are owned and governed by private individuals. So basically, private individuals are taking complete control over it, and the only motive is to earn profits. Also, they are free to do contracts. Every person in a capitalist economy is free to sell and purchase his goods and services. So everyone has their own choice. According to their own choices, they have this thing of free contracts. Also, another important thing is that consumers are treated as kings in a capitalist economy. Okay, so consumers are treated as kings. Also, a capitalist economy helps in living an enriched human life, and it also helps in increasing the standard of living of the people. So this is a capitalist economy. I've given you an idea, but roughly I will tell you there are some demerits of capitalist economy. So the drawbacks of a capitalist economy are that they are too much emphasizing on materialism. So they don't believe in social welfare, but they are very much confined to materialism. So basically because they don't care about the people's health and people's welfare. So even if they have to produce cigarettes, wines and anything, they will do that also. Another thing is that there's inequality of income and opportunities. It leads to monopoly. And and if it's leading to a monopoly, automatically all the abuses related to monopoly will be attached to it. There is a lot of class conflict between the rich and the poor, because in a capitalist economy, mostly the poor are exploited by the richer section of the society. So these are things about a capitalist economy. Now on page number 49, you will find a socialist economy, and I would like you all to take a view on this on this page here, down here, this paragraph. So basically, an economic system that is owned and operated by the community as a whole and by the government, and in other words, we can say it is a pre-planned program. This is called socialist economy. Okay, so socialist economy in simple words is engaged in the production and distribution of commodities that are going to benefit the society. Okay, on page number 50, I would like you all to turn your books, and you will find on page 50 and 51, you will find the merits, features and demerits as well. So I'll just give you an idea about this whole thing. Like I already mentioned, their motive is to do welfare. They are, the socialist economy is without competition. They don't do competitions. Plus, they are very economically planned. Okay, their ownership is their owners are the government. No private individual is the owner. There is no rich and poor kind of a conflict here, but there are some drawbacks in this also, that it is less democratic. Okay, on the other hand, this economy is pretty rigid. Okay, so it is incapable of making changes. It's very, because the government is running it, so no changes are easily made here. Mostly what happens is changes are not made easily over here. Plus there's a lot of bureaucratic control. That means too much evils of bureaucracy are followed here, like corruption, favoritism, delay in work. These are the situations that arise in this. Now I would like you all to turn your books to page number 52, where you will find mixed economy. Here you will see basically mixed economy is an economy which is a mixture of capitalism and socialism both. Now in this case, what happens is all the good points, or we can say the advantages of capitalist as well as socialist economy are combined together and then run, and all the evils of both the society, of both the economies, are removed. So basically mixed economy is like a coexistence of public as well as private sector. They have two motives. One is profit motive, because it takes the good points of the capitalist economy, and it also aims at doing social welfare. Reason being, it also follows the advantages of a socialist economy. Then on the other hand, there are less inequalities in the case of a mixed economy. Plus they encourage the private sectors. Also they are useful for the underdeveloped countries, like countries like India, Nepal, Africa. These are all countries that are still in the process of development, so it is good for such countries. They are very flexible. Okay, they allow converting things into something, or new ideas, and there are lots and lots of flexibility available in this kind of an economy. But there are some drawbacks also, and the drawbacks you can see here on page number 54, where you will find that the economy is pretty unstable. Why it is unstable? Because it emphasizes on two things: private as well as public sector, and the private sector is controlled by the government, so it's very unstable. Plus inefficient planning takes place. Okay, there is a delay in decision making, because anyway government is quite involved and there are delays in the government works. Then there is a problem where corruption and black marketing takes place. So these are all ill effects of in a mixed economy, I should say. Now we will move on to page number 55 and 56, where you will see developed economy and developing economy. So on the basis of the stage of development, we see there are two kinds of economies, that are developed economy and developing economies. So basically developed economies are those whose per capita income and standard of living is high. Okay, or we can say they are advanced countries. And whereas on the other hand, developing countries are those countries which are yet to be advanced. Okay, they are neither advanced nor we can say that they are absolutely backward. So a developed economy will be that which has advanced technology, they have full employment, their population is, urban population is more, they fully utilize their resources, their standard of living is pretty high, per capita income is high. These are the features of a developed economy. Whereas what kind of countries will be developing economies? Those countries who will have low per capita income, who will have rich and poor gap, who will have lack of good infrastructure, who will have outdated technology, who will have lack of capital, and who will have rapid increase in population, who will have unemployment. These are the kind of countries, factors that will be found in developing economies. Now please turn your books with me to page number 58, where you will find this table of distinction. Let me tell you that this is a very important table. Please learn it for sure. Now on page number 62, you will find about economic growth and economic development. There are two definitions. One is of economic growth, that means increase in over time in per capita output of material goods, given by Paul Baran. That's important. And economic development is the process by which an economy is transformed from one whose rate of growth of per capita income is small or negative to one in which a significant self-sustained rate of increase of per capita income is permanent and long-term feature. This is given by Irma Edelman. These are two definitions that I would like you to learn. This one is of economic development, this one is of economic growth. Both are equally important. Now this is a table down here that I would like you to learn. This is a very simple language table that differentiates between economic growth and economic development on the basis of these points of difference. Okay, so it's a very good table where I would suggest that please go ahead and learn it. And I'll just roughly tell you, see, growth is a very quantitative aspect, whereas development is both quantitative as well as qualitative. For example, let's take the life of a human. Life of a human is what? A baby is born, a baby grows in height, size, weight. These are all outer changes. That is the growth of the baby. But a person develops from inside, is becoming more mature, having change in his or her attitude. Maturity level changes, habits change, the behavior and feelings change, intelligence level increases. These are all inwardly and outwardly both kind of changes. Therefore, this is development. Okay, and in the same way in the economy also, all the qualitative and quantitative both kind of changes will be economic development, but only the quantitative change will be called economic growth. Okay students, so I hope you all have understood this summary of this lesson, and I believe that this is going to help you to just try to recall what we had studied in the beginning of the year. All the best students, and please, when I teach, when you watch this video, kindly follow it in your books.